the mushroom said to me once, it said, "This is what it's like when a species prepares to depart for the stars. You don't depart for the stars under calm and orderly conditions. It's a fire in a madhouse." And that's what we have, the fire in the madhouse at the end of time. This is what it's like when a species prepares to move on to the next dimension.
Not sure if you're familiar with Terence McKenna, who I have been for a few years now. And he used to be a very polarizing figure. You know, he used to get a bad rap for being kind of a nutbag, you know. He's I don't know what you call him. He was an author. I think they call it what do they call it? Oh my God. Endobotanist. He was into botany. He was big into the use of psychedelics, the proper use of psychedelics, what they're actually used for, and what they're actually put on this earth for. Now, of course, mainstream, since we were kids, always told you stay away from LSD and stay away from that acid. You know, the mushrooms, the DMT. We were always told that that was, you know, for crazy people. And you're going to see things, and the things that you're going to see are, you know, they're all just in your head. And now we come to find out, after studying people going on trips, and even myself doing some experimentation, we were very misled, just like everything else. You know, we're misled, misdirected, just like little kids. And they just come over like this and put the hoodie down and spin you around and throw you back out there. That's what they do, right? But today's not about mushrooms. Today is about this Terence McKenna interview. And I'm not sure the year. It says it's 97. Some people say 99. But it is beyond fascinating. And I'm going to put some clips in here, but this is the stuff that got my mind going. Because at the same time, like, time is definitely going fast. It feels like it's, like I was just saying in the last video, I feel like it's always garbage day. I feel like every day it's Monday. I feel like more than once a week I'm taking out the totes for garbage. It's freaked me out to the point where I'm just trying to analyze it now and hopefully get the help with you. I believe the comment section in every video is where the gold is. So the first order of business here, I tried to mark this, it's a long interview, is he apparently, Terence, with his own calculations, and this is back in, we'll just say this is from 99. Back in the late 90s, he predicted the same date as the Mayan calendar for the next major event. I'm still trying to figure out what he means by major event, but I'm guessing a flood or some kind of a solar event. Either way, something very bad. So he had the same December 21st of 2012. He predicted this in the late 90s.
I took it as a basic perception about physics and have built elaborate mathematically defined theories around this idea, and then have found, to my astonishment, incredible congruences with other work. I'm thinking of the Mayan calendar and its curious countdown-like quality toward an extremely unique event that the Maya felt would occur in the same time frame that my own equations predicted, even though at the time I was unaware of the Maya. So what we have here is a new model of time based on a very real intuition that I think most people share, which is that time is speeding up, that human beings are part of that process, and that the culmination of that process is now within the ven of historical time. In other words, I believe it will happen in 2012, in December, coincident with the same events that the Maya placed at the end of their calendar. Even if I'm wrong, even if it's 100 years or 500 years later, these are still spans of time that, when compared to the life of the planet, are fractions of a percentage. So whether you believe, as I do, that we can know the precise moment of this transformation of the world of time, or whether you believe it is simply coming soon and fast, really doesn't make that much difference. We are all gathered here at the end game of developmental processes on this planet.
He made a great point. And I don't think enough of us realize in the span of history, and you can argue how many millions of years old the Earth is, but in the span of time, the last, let's just say, the last 200 years. Let's say the last 100 years. 100 years in the span of millions is like, it's just a boop, it's over. It's just a little pop, there's 100 years. The Earth doesn't even feel the last 100 years in the scope. If you were the Earth and you wanted to look at 100 years, it would be such a small bit of information compared to what is available from the history. So he made a good point. Even if he's off 100 years, it's still pretty damn accurate. I mean, think about it. I mean, if I think it's pretty damn accurate still, and it's still enough to scare the hell out of me and keep going down the rabbit hole. So now other people are saying 2027. I mean, we're not going to know it until it's upon us. And we are racing to an event, and we could all feel it. We are racing to something that we don't know, but we can feel. And we're all the catalyst. The one thing he was mentioning here is that time is speeding up. And he's saying this back in the late 90s. And the reason he's saying that is because there's just more things happening. And I mentioned that in the last video too. I feel like they're packing in the events, they're packing in everything. And when you have instant access, things that we used to have to wait a few days for or plan ahead, we can get it in like a half hour or right now or overnight delivery, have it tomorrow. So more things are happening, so I think it feels like things are faster. But then I have like the same feeling where at the same time, if I look back like to 2020, like 5 years ago seems like at least 10 years ago. It seems like a long time ago. And I think it's that way because when there's more things packed in to a set time frame, the time's going to feel quicker because you're always doing something. You're always busy. You're always experiencing something or performing a task or thinking about something, whatever, or watching YouTube videos. But at the same time, when I look back, it just feels like, especially if you look back like through your iPhone pictures and videos, which I did yesterday, and I'm looking back at 2022, and that's only 3 years ago. And it feels like 10 years ago to me. I'm like, I can't believe some of the dumb screenshots I took and jokes I made. I was appalled at some of it. Not that it was like offensive. I was just like, what brain rot. Like, I can't believe I was participating in some of these things still. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're all in this together. We're all at different points in not only our lives individually in history, but, maturity wise and intellectually. So when he said that the time is there's more stuff being packed in, I think that's why it feels faster. And at the same time, it feels like when you look back, like 5 years ago, like I was saying, it feels like almost 15 years ago or 10 years ago. He said we're about to change as a species. Now he's saying this again. We'll just call this 1999. He's saying that we are about to change, right? Oh, I said right. I hate when people say right. It's one of my pet peeves. I feel like it was a few years ago. People are trying to sound smarter. They'll say something and then they'll say right, like I just did. Like, just say it, right? Okay, back on track. So he was saying that we are about to change as a species, and he's saying this in 1999.
Are about to become unrecognizable to ourselves as a species. Our technologies, our religions, our science has pushed us toward this for thousands of years without us awakening to what the denouement would be. Now we stand close enough to it that I think all but the most lumpen among us must feel the tug of the transcendental and the transformative.
I think we're living what he was talking about. We've changed. Some more than others. And if you think about the very young people, like kids 10 years and under, this is all they know. Like, think about a kid being born today. They're going to be born into this version of Earth. And unless us as parents and guardians and teachers and brothers and sisters and uncles and all that and aunts, we have to make sure that we keep nature and Mother Nature a priority as far as our interaction with it. We can't just be on these screens and taking in all this visual and rapid fire content. I listen to a lot of the videos. A lot of the content I take in, you could just listen to it. So that's probably why I make content like this myself. Because if you're not even watching this, you don't need to. You could be driving, you have this in your pocket. More of a conversation. But still, even from that, take a break and just be. I was saying that before, like just sitting on a porch in the summertime like we used to, and just looking around. And some people today would say, "Oh, what are you, thoughtless? What are you, stupid, just staring around?" It's actually the opposite, that we don't even know it. We're so ignorant that we see things almost that way now, where if you're not doing anything, you almost looked at it as kind of simple or maybe dim-witted. But that's where you connect with everything. That's the whole meaning of Earth. So this last part is what brought me, and probably brings all of us to make videos about this stuff. He says it's going to get so weird, we're going to have to talk about it. We're going to have to discuss it, and not only discuss it, but kind of get in depth and try to pick it apart and figure out, like, how did we get to this point? And I think in all that mess, it's the vehicle of what's making everything feel fast. We're always going, we're always arguing, we're always defending something, we're always trying to figure something out.
It's only going to get weirder. The level of contradiction is going to rise excruciatingly, even beyond the excruciating present levels of contradiction. I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is. And at that point, novelty theory can come out of the woods, because eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on? It's just too nuts. It's not enough to say it's nuts. You have to explain why it's so nuts. So between now and 2012, the next 14 years, I look for the invention of artificial life, the cloning of human beings, possible contact with extraterrestrials, possible human immortality, and at the same time, appalling acts of brutality, genocide, race baiting, homophobia, famine, starvation, because the systems which are in place to keep the world sane are utterly inadequate to the forces that have been unleashed. The collapse of the socialist world, the rise of the internet, these are changes so immense, nobody could imagine them ever happening. And now that they have happened, nobody even bothers to mention what a big deal it is. The fact that there is no such thing as the Soviet Union, people never talk about it anymore. But when I was a kid, the notion that that would ever change was beyond conceiving. So the good news is that as primates, we're incredibly adaptable to change. Put us in a desert, we survive. Put us in the jungle, we survive. Under Hitler, we survive. Under Nixon, we survive. We can put up with about anything, and it's a good thing because we're going to be tested to the limits.
This is in 1998 or 99, whatever I said. So it's alarming, some people did see it. I mean, in 98, I was what? I'll say 99. 99, I was, 1999, I was 20. And still semi-ignorant and blissful and questioning things, but just going about my day and going to play my guitar and going to drink some beers and going to play my gigs. And so I'm going to wrap this up here by saying, and leave your comments. Let me know what you think about some of these clips. Let me know your opinion, because that's what I said. The comments are the gold. In any video I watch, and hopefully in the videos I make, I love to see different ideas because it just gets my mind going. And I think it's fun for all of us, So I will leave you with this. I believe that the psychedelics are a tool. And now I know that they are. My whole life, and I've done mushrooms in the past, and it was mostly like with friends or, we had some beers and somebody brings out the mushrooms, we get giggly, and then it's the next day, whatever. It's not what they're for at all. I mean, you could, I suppose, have some, do what you want. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But once I started getting into this stuff, I would say about a year ago, I tried, after a couple years of being enticed by it again, I got some mushrooms. And I forget how many grams I did. I think I did 2 grams. And I was in a good headspace. I had the whole day blocked out. It was, I forget when it was, probably close to a year ago. And now today's not going to be about this experience, but the one thing I noticed, and it was wonderful, it was absolutely eye opening. About 2 weeks after that, I did it a second time because it was so moving and life changing. The one thing I noticed both times, and I couldn't believe it, it felt like 4, 5, 6 hours went by, and it was only like a couple. Time like really slows down for some reason, and it made me wonder if getting in tune with nature that way and breaking through, so to speak, getting beyond the veil, it almost showed me that we are speeding up time, and it is us. It's this whole society, because when I had those mushrooms, I was separated from that. I really felt separated. It was crazy. I stood in here and looked at the guitars. I couldn't believe how vivid. It was one of the best memories. And some other personal things that are just for me, but I had some very groundbreaking revelations. And I'm looking forward to doing it again. Probably you want to be in a good headspace when you do this stuff. So, not that things are bad now, but I got some stress happening. So I'm going to wait till things even out a little bit. And I'm not going to recommend it or not recommend it, but it was interesting and I enjoyed it and I can't wait to do it again. But that's the only time I noticed where time just, it was the opposite. It was almost freaked me out. I was looking at the phone expecting to see like, 8, 9 o'clock, and it was like 4. So let me know what your thoughts are on time. After seeing this Terence McKenna thing, I'm starting to think it's just us as a society. We're doing more, and we're speeding towards an event. What that event is, I'm not sure. But thank you for your thoughts. Thank you for your comments. We'll come back and have some more interesting things about this topic. 'Cause I find it absolutely fascinating. I hope you do too. See you next time as I drink my second pot of coffee.
The mushroom said to me once, it said, "This is what it's like when a species prepares to depart for the stars. You don't depart for the stars under calm and orderly conditions. It's a fire in a madhouse." And that's what we have, the fire in the madhouse at the end of time.